So going into this rally, I had no idea who was in charge of it. All the conversations that I saw online were saying that it wasn't organized by any organization. It was just regular, everyday gun owners coming together to promote, protect, and grow the Second Amendment. That's what I saw in every thread. The flyer did not have a mention of any name, of any organization, any contact info. So coming to this rally, I thought it was fair game. No info. No info on the flyer. The flyer is the thumbnail for this right here. I posted the flyer on Facebook. A bunch of people sent me the flyer. So I want to start with that context. There was no point of contact. We call that a POC in the military. So I just roll up, I go into the thing and I wait for my turn. I see a guy who's taking notes and calling people out and stuff like that. So I go, cool. Hey, let me throw my name in the hat. He has the phone, he has the list or whatever. He throws my name into the list. And then I wait about an hour as other people are giving their speeches. Those speeches was crazy and wild. As a bystander before I spoke, all those speeches were not talking about, all those speeches had, I'd say about 80% of it had nothing to do with guns. It was talking about putting America first, which we know certain language is usually tied. Well, I would say we know. Some Americans have the perspective that when you use a certain phrase or language, that there's a connotation that goes with that. So put America first has a connotation of being racist. So when people say that, people go, oh, I don't like that to some people. Something like back the blue or all lives matter or any other political phrase that we know when you say that phrase, it's not the direct message that's being told. It's a variety of crap behind it. Thank you. Okay, gun websites. Thank you for sending me the $20. This is literally my first super chat. So shout out to everybody for that. Gun website says to help cover gas, your message today at the rally were on point. Thank you so much for being there and bringing a real point of view that needs to be addressed. Thank you very much, gun websites. I appreciate that. So super chats are active. If you write it, then I'll put your message up. So thank you for that, gun websites. Appreciate you. But yeah. So prior to me, I would say at least 10 people spoke. 10 people spoke ahead of me. 80% of it had nothing to do with guns. People were running for political offices, which is fine. People were talking about other political candidates. People were talking about the border. People were talking about, all types of random things that wasn't related to 2A. People were talking about Trump. People were talking about MAGA. People were talking about a bunch of different things. So I was hearing all this and I was like, okay, then my speech makes sense. So let me start with my speech. I told the crowd, hey, we have to have a hard conversation. This crowd is, generally when you think of the word patriot and gun owners, you generally think of a white conservative male, right? That's what people who aren't white males, that's what they think of when they hear the term patriot. I ask yourself, when you think of the word patriot, do you, in your mind, when you close your eyes and you think of the word patriot, does the image of a black guy with an afro carrying a gun come to mind? Does the image of a black guy with braids and a suit come to mind? For majority of people, the answer is no. I don't want to get into the weeds of is that right or wrong, but there are certain connotations and views and perspectives that people have. I'm not arguing whether it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that it exists, right? So we're getting into this knowing that there's a pretext, knowing that we're not getting into this rally in a vacuum, right? So it's not like we don't know anything. So there's a lot of pre-connotations. I told people we got to have hard conversations about accountability, okay? And before we talk about anybody else, we need to look at ourselves, right? Before we talk about our exes, before we talk about our bosses, before we talk about our friends, we have to look at ourselves first. So I told the crowd, look to your left and look to your right. How many Black, brown, Hispanic, whatever ethnicity, non-white do you see around here? People looked around. And then I said, look around again. Look at the space that is missing. We are in the heart of Boston, where there are tens and thousands of gun owners that are Black, brown, Hispanic, whatever other ethnicity and category, gay, right? You have Pink Pistols, which is another pro 2A group, right? There's all types of different demographics, right? Chop it up by race, gender, whatever, sexual orientation, cool. Why are none of these people here? I've been going to rallies since 2016, and majority of the crowds that show up are young and old white males and females. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm not saying that as a bad thing. But that's majority of the crowd. I've gone to a dozen rallies, and it's usually 100 or 200 people, and now that I've got enough of them, I could already tell you who's going to be there. I can name half the crowd because I have a rapport with them. Over this last decade, we have been losing. So I asked myself this question. How come people who live in the city of Boston, where it's accessible by train, accessible by car, accessible by Uber, accessible by bicycle, right? You could ride your bicycle. I made a joke about the bike lanes, right? Why are none of these tens of thousands of gun owners showing up to a rally in their own city? I could understand if it was in Uber. I could understand if it was in Gold's headquarters. I could understand if it was in bumfuck nowhere. But it was here in the heart of Boston. Why are our gun owners not showing up to these rallies? That's a real question. If you want to promote and grow the Second Amendment, why is 80% of the community not showing up? This is a community about accountability. This is a community that talk about, oh, pick yourself up by the bootstraps and go to work and da-da-da-da-da. So where's our accountability? Where's our self-reflection? As a two-way community, do we ever ask ourselves why 80% of the community never show up? Why do 80% of the community vote for politicians that are anti-gun? What could be so bad? What could be so bad that somebody who is pro-gun, who has a license to carry, who has a gun, who loves to defend themselves and believes in the Second Amendment, what could be so bad that they vote for something else? Does the two-way community ever ask themselves that? Do you? If you don't, you should ask yourself, why do my peers don't show up to these rallies? If you are a white male, young, old, white female, young, old, ask yourself, why do my counterparts do not show up to these rallies? They paid for the class, they pay for the licensing every 6 years, they go to the range, they go to the shooting range, they're pro two-way. But why is it when it comes time to vote, we're not voting in unison? Why is it when it comes time to do these rallies that it's the same white people that come in all the time? And we're losing. We are losing this two-way fight. We put everything on the back of fucking Goal. Goal is the organization that got like 10 people in it. And we're putting a fucking, what was the number? 30,000 gun owners, whatever the number is. We're putting the entire two-way movement on the backs of 10 people. Why? Why are we doing that? Is that an effective solution? Is that an effective strategy? That only 20% of the people show up to rallies? 20% of the people vote? 20 of the, not even 20%, 10 people are doing all the legal work? If it wasn't for Goal keeping me up to date with the emails and breaking this shit down in their war room and doing all this shit, I would have no idea what the fuck is going on. I would have no idea. Why? Because I don't understand the political structure. I don't understand the state building, the city hall, and how laws are passed and this and that. I have no idea how it works. And the only way I've started to understand is by being part of Goal and reading the emails, by going to their rallies and hearing them talk. How do you know what the bill number is? How did you know this passed? I have no fucking idea. The bill number, who did this, who filed that, who did that. I have no idea. But Goal informs me. And I say, damn, I appreciate that, brother. Y'all doing some heavy work because I got a lot of work of my own. I can't track that. So I'm not asking everyone to save the world. What I'm asking people is to do your part. And your part is you should ask yourself, am I growing and protecting the Second Amendment, or am I part of the problem? Why don't 80% of gun owners show up to these rallies? That's a question that I want you to answer. You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to share my views, but I want you to answer that fucking question because that's a reality. The reality is majority of gun owners are not showing up. And why? 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 If you disagree with me as to why, give me the answer. Give me the answer why. So we got to look in the mirror. What's the messaging are we giving? Right? As a business owner, as an organization, you are responsible for your messaging. You are responsible for getting customers to come through your door. 2A members is your customer. If you're claiming to be a leader in the 2A community, then that LTC holder is your customer. And your customer is not showing up to these rallies. They're not showing up to your store. They're not buying your shit. So you know what's happening? You're going out of business. When you don't have programs, when you don't have initiatives, when you can't get customers to go into your store, you know what happens? You go out of business. And that's what's happening to the 2A in Massachusetts. We are going out of business. They're banning shit. Fucking bullet by bullet, magazine by magazine, feature by feature, gun by gun, platform by platform. So I don't give a damn about what your personal opinion is. What I care about is solutions. Because your customers ain't coming. And you got to ask yourself why. If you truly care about the Second Amendment and everyone having the ability to protect themselves and their loved ones, you would ask yourself why, and you would take the actions appropriate to getting your customers through your door. Because right now, the LTC members and LTC holders in Boston are not showing up to your business. So therefore, these anti-gun politicians are fucking having a party on a hill because there's nobody to oppose them. So what's the messaging is 2A leadership giving to their member group? We're not talking about people we can't convince. There are people that are anti-gun that we will never convince that guns are good. I'm talking about people in your community, LTC holders. What type of messaging are you giving them? Because the messaging that you're giving is not working. Whatever we have been doing for the last 5, 10, 15, 20 years is not working. So say what you want, whatever belief that you have, but I know this shit ain't working. Because in 2016 to 2024 now, the same percentage of Black, Brown, Hispanic, and every other type of category, demographic you want to put, they're still not showing up. They send a representative. You'll have one member come and represent. Hey, I'm from the Pink Pistol community. Hey, I'm from this community. Hey, I'm from this and that. Why aren't their members showing up? Then some Karen yelled in the crowd, well, they should be here. They should support. Yes, Karen, I agree with you, Karen. They should be here, Karen. Why aren't they? Why aren't they, Karen? Why aren't 80% of the group filling in all this green? Because I see a lot of green. Yes, they should be here. I agree with you, Karen, but why aren't they? You know why? Because you make it hard. You make it hard. There is nothing wrong with white people supporting the two-way. Shit, you guys are the only one doing a lot of the legal work. What I'm saying is it is not enough to win the two-way fight. Old, young, white males and females are not enough numbers to win the two-way fight. You need the rest of the two-way community to step in and do the fucking work. And in order for them to do that, you have to create an environment where people feel like they are valued, where they are loved, where they are appreciated, where they are wanted, where they are seen, and they are heard. And right now, the two-way community is not doing it. You're failing. You're failing in that mission. And that's why 80% of the people don't show up. Well, Pierre, how are we failing in that mission? How are we failing to make the place, what's the word y'all hate? Inclusive. Yeah, I hate that word. Inclusive. I'll tell you how. Because a lot of you guys seem to be confused as to how the space is not safe. Well, we're all pro-gun, Pierre. Why don't everybody come here? Why don't everybody join us in the lawn? I'll tell you why. Because y'all got a bunch of shit that is not 2A related. The 2A movement needs to be a single freaking issue movement. The only thing we need to be talking about is guns. Why are we at a 2A rally and we talking about MAGA? Make America great again. Nobody disagrees with that. Oh, yeah, we should make America great. Again? So at some point, America was great. Well, yeah, Pierre. So then I asked the question, when was America great for everyone? Give me a year. I'm a very direct person. I can articulate myself very well. I can understand and comprehend things very good. Answer this question. When was America great for everyone? What year is that? Tell me a year. Because in 2024, we're still having the first Black president, the first Black governor, the first city council member, the first this is that, the first... In 2024, we're still having the first. So when was America great for everyone? Give me a year. It don't matter. That has nothing to do with the issue. All it does, it distracts people. Now we're arguing about Trump. Now we're going down the weeds as to whatever. Why? We should only be talking about guns. Why are we going down the rabbit hole about Trump? The minute you yell Trump, the minute you yell Kamala, the minute you yell insert any political person, you are turning people off. You just unselected 5,000 gun owners. You just unselected 10,000 gun owners because they're pro this and anti that. We cannot afford to turn people away. So we don't need to be talking about that shit. Why are we talking about immigrants? Why are we talking about China? That's not our lane. Are those things important? Sure, but that's not your lane. That's above your pay grade, respectfully. We need to be talking only about guns.